Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Thursday expert series. Today, I have an old friend and former client,
Yes. All the
turned
things.
health expert in her own right,
Yes.
Jaclyn Renee. She's a certified holistic health coach and digestion specialist, and she assists clients in healing their body using food and self-care as medicine.
Yeah.
She attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in 2016. She's also been a personal trainer, right, for many years, Jaclyn.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone through her own IBS and anxiety. She peels back the layers of common health issues that often begin with the gut, which she believes is the root cause of all disease. So if you see her and follow her on Instagram, which is where I keep in touch with her, she talks a lot about bloating, a lot about the gut. We've got a bloating gift for you here. And today we're going to focus on something a little different, which is breast implant illness. And Jaclyn recently went through an explant. It's a topic that really fascinates me. And I think even if it's not something you're going through personally, you're going to learn a lot from just what happens in the body throughout this process. So welcome, Jaclyn. Thanks for coming on.
Yes. Thanks for having me. I'm honored.
Oh, so happy to have you. So maybe let's just start with the basics. What does that even mean, breast implant illness?
Yeah. So again, I was not fully aware of this. I've been living with my implants was living with my implants for 12 years. I got them at age 26 or 27. And what do we know then? And actually, what do we know now? So, um, you know me, and that you were one of the first people, practitioners that I saw when I was battling gut issues, infertility, fatigue, cystic acne. I mean, the list, headaches, hormonal imbalance, just put it in the list because I was experiencing all of that. And of course, like we worked through a lot of that, cleansing my body and getting me to feel better. And I did. And I was probably living at about 85% for many, many, many years, although still was unable to get pregnant. And the more research I did, and you just get consumed with that, I think, like figuring out what's wrong with you and all that stuff. The more research I did, the more I kept coming to this dead end of breast implant illness. I didn't know what it was. And someone invited me to a Facebook group that literally has 35,000 women in it. I had never seen a Facebook group with that many women in it before. I was shocked. I'm like, something must be going on, right? So when you say breast implant illness, what we're looking at is the fact that it is a foreign object in your body. And your body has to adapt to that. And so what a lot of women are experiencing, of course, is like scar tissue building up around the capsule to protect the body. We know that the body forms an inflammatory response to protect us. But imagine if that intruder is in there all the time, like specifically, you deal with mold and you say, okay, let's remove the mold. Eventually the mold comes out. You don't like, poop out or pee out a breast implant. It's in your
That'd be a
body.
special skill.
You got it. Yeah, I wish, because that explant surgery was no joke, but you have to take out the toxin. So breast implant illness is basically when the body is quote unquote attacking the intruder, which in this case being the breast implants, whether saline or silicone, and developing scar tissue around it. And then what's happening from there is women are experiencing many, many, many symptoms like fatigue, autoimmune, chronic inflammatory issues, infertility, cystic acne, all the things that you would say, oh, well, let's test for mold, let's test for this. But it's coming from the implants. It's coming from the body not adapting to them.
Yeah, it makes me think we should have this question on our intake. We really should, right?
I
You're
100% think it needs to be a question on the intake. Actually, I just started putting it on my intake because you could battle so much for so long, which, technically I did, and then have a lot of it resolved by removing the issue. And then, of course, we're going to do some mold. I need to now detox what was in my body. So you and I got the mold test. We're going to do some other work after the work's not done, but the problem is removed. So now we can do the real work.
Yeah, I remember, well, a couple things. Yeah, about the intake. I think women could have them, and they, again, were put in so long ago that they just don't even think, oh, that could be an issue. So they may not report it. And so if I don't ask, that's
Mm-hmm.
on me. And I didn't ask you when we worked together, to be
Right.
frank.
Yeah, but did we know 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
I don't really think it was being talked about. No.
Mm-mm. Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sure it was going on. But one thing I remember about you as you tell a story is how you were so incredibly careful with your diet. Like, so
So
you couldn't hardly
I
eat
still
out, right?
am. I still am.
Well, which is good, but it was like
Yeah.
you had no choice,
I
right?
had
Like
no choice. I
and
ate
to
at
me,
home.
that's almost like a red flag as I look at client cases now. It's like, well, I'm good as long as I like follow every single rule that my
Mhm.
body has made for
Yeah.
me. And, we shouldn't be quite that high maintenance. So I think
No.
that's where you got the 85%, right? You knew a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, maybe tell us what was lingering when you found out about this group.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you are familiar with my, infertility journey. I'm divorced now, right? And we did try for 6 years, all natural. I didn't feel called to do the IVF route, but we tried for 6 years with basically unexplained infertility, and I had, some other major symptoms that played a part, SIBO type symptoms and stuff. And a lot of that was resolved from, okay, clean up the diet, balance the hormones, right? I think we did mercury detox and some stuff like that. But it was like I was searching, searching, searching. And so then when I was like, okay, I'm 85%, it was still that it was brain fog that I think was the biggest thing. Cystic acne was still prevalent, and I could feel that my body didn't detox properly. Like I could feel tightness in my chest around the implant, and then lingering bloating. Of course, I'm like, hello, I'm the bloating guru. I am the gut specialist. I can't be bloated. I'm following all the rules.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that stuff would come and go and linger throughout the process.
That's an interesting point about the unexplained, infertility. I wonder in how many instances that's a factor. I mean, luckily there's a clear, do you have them or not question that
Yes.
makes life a little easier.
Yes or no question. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to do a bunch of testing. What was I going to get back? So when you started to find out about it, how quickly were you like, yeah, I want these
Mm.
out?
It's actually a really good question because not quickly at all.
Oh.
There's a very deep emotional. I've gotten so many, oops, I'm sorry. I got so many messages on Instagram about I want to do it, but it's like this emotional detachment from what you look like. For instance, I had a photo shoot this morning. It's my first photo shoot post explant. And I had like anxiety the first couple photos because I'm so used to what my body looks like in a photo and what my clothes look like in a photo. And now I have this emotional thing going on, like, oh, I look so different. So I actually found out about the group and started researching and thinking about it 3 years ago. And
Mm,
so it was like every year felt called to do it, but I was just not ready. And
mm,
it was like you're letting go of so much in a superficial way. So 3 years from getting in the group to booking the appointment with my doctor.
And you find
Yeah.
that that's common, that it takes people a while to work through it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten all types of messages in my inbox, like I'm afraid to recover with kids. I'm afraid of the saggy skin. I'm afraid of what I'll look like in a bathing suit. Just a lot of it's an emotional body image thing that comes along with it too.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, once that becomes part of your look and part of your
Hmm.
identity, it's like
Hmm.
you want to keep it that way. It
Of
makes
course,
sense.
that's
And
why it
you,
took so long.
yeah. And you probably wonder, well, am I really going to get better if I go through all that
That is another
agony? And
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and it's painful, right? It's expensive. It's hard to find a practitioner, it sounds like.
You need a specialist. And luckily, well, in Michigan, I came home for the one in Michigan because she's incredible. She's one of the best in the country. But you need a specialist to do the full explantation with, they call it, what do they call it? Encapsulation, where they scrape the scar tissue out. So there's,
Mm.
it's a similar to endometriosis. If you think about it, you have all that scar tissue building up in your lymphatic system. So that's pretty crazy. It's all right here, It's a very painful post surgery, more painful than getting them in. It was double the cost for me of getting them in. Granted, I got mine in like 2000 and whatever that was, 5 or 6. So inflation, and you have to take time off. I had to take 4 weeks off of work. So it's a lot. It's a
4
commitment.
weeks. Wow, that's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Even because like sitting up was uncomfortable, just in like, so towards the end of the 4 weeks, yeah, I could take clients in bed, but I really just still was having trouble focusing and, just it's tough. It's a tough recovery.
Wow.
Mhm.
Something I found out is as I was researching this was that when you do have implants, you're supposed to get them sort of redone or something every 10 years. Is that right? Something like that?
So yeah, so it's interesting that message is changing. When I got mine in, they said 15 to 17 years. Then maybe 5 years later, my friends that got them in, they were like, oh, they told me every 10 years. And so I think it's like, and then I know someone who's in their 50s who was like, nobody ever told me to get them changed, So I think the verbiage is changing. I have a really good friend / colleague, Amanda, that works for plastic surgeons out in Beverly Hills that do only explants now. They won't put implants in. And she said now they're changing the whole warning. So there's like this stack of, you're basically signing your life away as to what you could be exposed to, the chemicals,
Mm,
the post surgery symptoms by going into this surgery. You know what you're getting into.
mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, there probably wasn't much discussion on that. So now when they say change them every 10 years, is that because of the encapsulation stuff? Or I thought it was more like an aesthetic kind of pickup thing that it
It's
was about.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's got a couple angles. I feel like they're starting to say like, oh, the bags expire, like they could wear down, right? Like just the wear and tear of being in your body and like whatever, working out and movement and everything. And yes, of course, skin. Um, there's still new information coming out. So I don't know what the full angle is on it. But
Mm.
I definitely think that um, they're trying to cover themselves a little bit when it comes to like the long term, because of course, the longer you have it in your body, the more the symptoms can build up.
Okay. So it's like, oh, well, we told you to get them changed every 10 years.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
kind of covers them a little bit.
yeah.
So you
Well,
kind of mentioned some of the things, scar tissue. I think I've heard there can be like mold around them. Is that correct?
Well, there's probably mold in them, to be honest,
Oh
Bridget. I mean, the
gosh.
list of chemicals, I wanted to get a graphic for you and I can still send it to you. I was trying to find this one graphic that Amanda posted that had like, it was like a carousel graphic of 3 of all the things that are in, breast implants, which is similar to saying like, oh, this is what's in your makeup if it's non-toxic, like 1,800 different ingredients. And, a couple different major ones being in there that I'm sure your body being exposed to. I mean, it is next to your blood and it's in your bloodstream and all that. And some of the women that I know that had theirs removed, they had completely ruptured,
Oh
but you couldn't
wow.
tell, like you couldn't tell that they had ruptured from the outside or even feeling it. It's just that their symptoms worsened. So they take them
Mm.
out and I can get you a couple pictures of some of my doctors before and afters of the implants, right? Like looking at them with this goo squishing out of them.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is that? It's silicone
Oh
in your
wow.
body.
Yeah, just floating. And then I wonder what kind of plastic the implant is made out of. Do you know?
Right. Good question. And no, I'm not sure. But again, that's another thing. I mean, we don't even want to drink out of plastic water bottles. Yet I had
Never
2
mind.
plastic substances in my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just like cringe if I have to go buy a bottle of water, just I'm on the road or whatever. And this is plastic is in my body.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
probably phthalates because it's a soft plastic. So that makes plastic
absolutely.
soft.
Hmm.
Okay. So mold, the chemical exposure, the scarring, anything else on that list? Then we can maybe talk
Of
about how the body reacts, like of what you're exposed to potentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big thing that I heard in the group was of the brain fog. And
Okay.
like so many people would say they would be, even just really tired, even after a long night's sleep, or they would have trouble concentrating, even after working on their gut health or their gut health got better or whatever it is. And so much of the testimonials will say were around it being the brain fog going away. And so that to me shows like what chemicals are just cycling through your body.
Mm,
And, because the exposure is just really messing with that whole connection.
yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll look this up, you know, how or what, like what they, how they think it's like, it's probably breaking down the blood brain barrier.
I was definitely thinking that. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
absolutely.
gut barrier, which we're going to talk about the gut in a second
Hmm.
here. So yeah, I'd love to talk about more of the symptoms and your explant. I just want to share a funny story. I saw Jaclyn interviewing someone on Instagram, and I'm like about breast implant illness, and I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm like, I think I have this, and I'm like, oh wait, no, you don't have. But it's so, I mean, a lot of it can really overlap with other toxicity. So especially lately,
Totally.
I've really been thinking, now I'm still experiencing some chronic fatigue from everything, all the
Molds and
toxins I've been
stuff.
exposed to.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah, one more kind of toxin. So you're a gut
Mhm.
expert. Tell us how it breaks down the gut.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because again, and this was I spent hours and hours and hours in this group connecting with women and asking them about their journey because I know so many women are, still in the space of not being connected to holistic health. So I'm like, okay, well, do you have breast implant illness or do you eat McDonald's every day? Like let me make sure. But I would say the majority of the messages, so let's say a third of 35,000 that I went through, were already in holistic health. We're
Mm.
already gluten free. We're already cutting sugar, cutting alcohol. So they had already really stepped up and started researching and maybe even working with like someone like you or me. And so they were aware of their body. And so when they're still experiencing major gut system symptoms and they already did all of those things, that's kind of how it connected. So again, if we're exposing ourselves to these chemicals inside our lymphatic system and we're not able to detox, that detox we know will build up in places like the liver. And then, of course, that offsets our digestive system, or our ability to break down food, our ability to secrete digestive enzymes, or the liver. Uh, the liver starts to get sludgy. And it's very interesting. Somewhere right in the middle of my healing journey, let's say from 20 years old to getting the implants to being, I'm 39 now. So let's say maybe around 35, I had an MRI and it showed fatty liver. It literally was showing deposits on my liver. I'm like, that's insane. There's no way like that I can have a fatty liver. I've been holistic health for 10 years. And so that really started, like that came back around and I was like, okay, this is really how it's breaking it down because it's protruding into the organs. The organs are a part of our digestive system. They're what helps that go. And then of course, if I can't break down my food, then we know that that's creating inflammation in the gut. And as soon as you create inflammation in the gut, that's where the domino effect goes down, right?
Okay. Yeah, I feel like your story, like a lot of complicated chronic stories, is it's like a yes and. It's like,
Yes, and yeah.
yeah, you got this and this and this and like you
Yeah.
said, now you still have stuff to unravel. So
Mhm.
you had your surgery how long ago now?
So I am just about 14 weeks post
Okay.
explant.
Would you
Yeah.
mind? Yeah, just tell us about the whole procedure and what you've
Yeah,
experienced since.
absolutely. So leading in the last year leading up to the surgery. So this is like potentially me deciding to get to the do the explant, meeting with my doctor, having the consultation, calling 50 times after the consultation and like deciding to do the surgery, my symptoms were worsening by the day.
Mm.
And I don't know if it was psychological or not, but my stomach was so distended. I was experiencing major, major bloat or major SIBO, let's call it SIBO-like symptoms. I was kind of traveling and different things, but again, still living this super healthy lifestyle. And so I knew that that was a major sign for me, this bloat. I was like, okay, what is this? You know, this is what's attached to it for me. And let me see how I can resolve this. So I have the consultation, and then I have the surgery. August 2nd was my surgery date. And you go in when you have the consult, and they decide what they're basically going to do with your boobs, which is questionable because they don't really know what you're going to be left with. They have to make something of what you're left with. So that's where a good surgeon is really important, because I think my surgeon did an incredible job. And honestly, I'm so open that I would show, like, I know it's like actually illegal to do that, but I would show women like before and after, because they get so afraid of that. So you go in the morning and she marks sort of where it's going to be. And I did what's called a lollipop. So around the nipple and straight down from the nipple to the bottom. So she can make the nipple smaller and then pull in the fat up the bottom so that it was a semi-lift. The surgery was a long, it's like a 4-hour surgery. And then the recovery was really tough. The first 4 or 5 days, I was barely alive. I would like open my eyes a little bit and then I would go back to sleep, open my eyes, because you're really like, they scrape right around here. So you're really sore and you're just very tired because you feel like an elephant on your chest. It took a couple weeks for me to start feeling better. And week 2 to 3, I had tons of anxiety, right? I couldn't get outside. I couldn't walk very much. I was starting to have cabin fever. Like, you know, exercise is a huge part of our lives and you can't do that. But around week 3, I was able to like walk 20 minutes twice a day. And that changed my entire life. And so that just goes to show you how much walking 20 minutes twice a day changes your life. So do that. And then all around it though, I was eating super healthy. My friends were cooking me food and I was, you know, getting meal delivery of healthy food. So around week 3 started to transition. By week 4, I was doing a little bit of Pilates, walking up to an hour. And so now then each week I've sort of been improving. Now I'm back to the gym and doing low intensity weightlifting and stuff like that.
I imagine you were put on antibiotics and different painkillers.
So
lots of disruptors.
Yeah. So legally,
Oh, okay.
don't follow my advice on this, but I did some alternative stuff. I took high dose oil of oregano and berberine instead of the antibiotic, but I do not do that. You consult your doctor.
Hear it here. Yeah. Because that could probably be dangerous for
It's
certain
dangerous
people,
for certain people. Yeah, I know my body, and obviously I'm a practitioner. I took the antibiotics for a few days while the wounds were still pretty banged up, and then I went in, but I did it without painkillers either. So
no way.
Yeah, I did, and of course, legally, this is my own journey, but I did a lot of CBD during the day, and then at night I would do THC and CBD to go to sleep.
But you were anesthetized, obviously, for the surgery.
Oh yeah, and I got an what do you call it? Nerve end block.
Okay.
So the nerves are kind of like turned off, so you don't feel the nerve right away, which is, get that. It's so helpful.
Okay.
But all that stuff, yeah, is coming out of my body, and like I was very anxious when the anesthesia was coming out of my body, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, those transitions can create a lot of like physical anxiety. For sure.
So much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hopefully talk about, I should say, let's be neutral. Do you notice changes in your bloating or your brain fog or any of that?
Yeah. So definitely 50%. My brain fog is definitely better, way better. The bloating is still there, which it's not as bad as it used to be. I'd say it's 50 to 60% better, but I've again looked in the group and talked to some of the professionals and my doctor about it. And obviously, like, there can be residual SIBO from it. You're dealing with releasing a lot of the stuff that your body wasn't detoxing, because I was stuck in this cycle of not detoxing for a long time. So my body, I can feel, is getting rid of. It's interesting. I broke out on my chest and on my back straight across for the couple weeks. I'd say week 3 to week 6. It was almost like my body was releasing some weird things. Like I had a lot of like pustules come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke out again on my skin. But I mean, you can see my skin is so much better than it used to be. I like 1 month before my surgery, I had cystic acne all over my
Oh,
chin.
wow.
My eyes were super dark. My eyes are brighter. So yeah, residual stuff that of course you and I are going to be working on together. But yes, definitely better. Definitely better.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned earlier you think you're exposed to mold, like since you went back to Michigan, right?
Yeah, the house that I was actually healing in, my brother's house, I did a ERMI test just quick, just to like get some sort of a guidance of it. And it was off the charts. So I
Oh,
left the house immediately, but I still need to do mold detox. I still need to get my own test done to see what I was exposed to and make sure I wasn't there a long time, but I was there while I was recovering from surgery. So open wounds,
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
One of the things my doctor said, though, this is very interesting and very important point, because I went in and I was freaking out. I said, I was healing. I'm in this mold. I could tell that I was coughing and my eyes were itchy. And she said, well, don't be too scared, because people that are exposed to mold badly, when they come in and they remove their bandages, that she could see like blue and green oozing out of their body. And she would know immediately that they were exposed to mold, like from the inside out. And she's like, you're healing really nicely, and in fact better than some people that I see. So she's like, don't be too freaked out about it. That is a major issue, because normally I would see it visually that they were exposed to mold. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that's super nuts. I definitely would like to find out more about that.
I
We,
definitely think I should connect you with my doctor too. You guys could have a
yeah,
great conversation.
that would be great. Yeah, I
Hmm.
just think this is so interesting. I mean,
Hmm.
from a practitioner side of things.
Yes, she's one of the top. So she's got all the goods.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Oh, I wanted to share the article we wrote on it. And I think it was more kind of like detox tips and that kind of a thing. So maybe we'll go deeper over time now that
Mhm.
Jaclyn's kind of put me in the right place. So I put Jaclyn's Beat the Bloat gift here in the notes, and we'll share it in the YouTube and the Facebook. Actually, let me go share it on Facebook right now. Um, oh no, I did that already. Um, and it was also, I just have to say too, I apologize. Last week we didn't have the chat working correctly. I think Zoom kind of changed the settings. So I just now got the chat, I think, working correctly. We're going to close it up soon here. If anybody has any questions, again, this might not be a topic that you think like you may not feel like you personally need to know about, but you may want to share it with someone.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people going through it, 35,000 plus, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And
go ahead.
my doctor also said, you can't detox until 3 months. So that's why I like purchased the kit, and then I haven't done it yet, because I was waiting for my 3 month mark to do it, because I don't want to find this information out if I can't detox. So my
Oh,
doctor
okay.
recommends, she says, do the surgery and then heal, obviously, like the regular stuff like bone broth and good smoothies and all that. And then she's like, at 3 months, get with a practitioner to then detox the body of everything that was just sitting in you while you were stewing in your breast implants. So
Mm,
now is like the real work for me. Now that I'm 3 months, it's like, okay, I can really cleanse my body and heal, because I have nothing synthetic in it at all.
mm. Will you develop kind of like a protocol for people who have been through it, you think?
I think so, but I think I need to experience it myself. So I started putting together a program of pre-surgery, because I followed, just to get my body really ready. And everybody is different. Let me just say that. But I followed AIP for a while, and I did some heavy detox supplements, and also immune support supplements, just to feel ready for my surgery. But you can't take supplements 2 weeks prior to your surgery. So I kind of had to stop all that and do more with food. but then a lot of anti-inflammatory during, and then of course later detox protocol, which of course we'll probably be going over together. And we can always, I can always use you as a connection for that too, to help people. But I don't think I can put it out until about 6 months post-surgery, because I have to see what I go through. You almost have to go through it first and then be able to
Totally.
share
Yeah.
it.
It took me
Yeah.
a long time to share about mold. This is probably pre-Jaclyn right
That's
here.
my boobs. Those are my big boobs.
And this is the free gift we put in the chat as
Mhm.
well. The
Yeah,
beat the
three
bloat.
video. Mhm.
Awesome. So yeah, and
Thank
she
you.
does work with people and groups too, right, Jaclyn?
I do more one-on-one than groups,
Okay.
because everybody's gut healing journey is so specific. So yeah, it's pretty one-on-one, but yeah, it's good. It's a lot of, following the 4 R's: remove, replace, reinoculate, and restore.
Awesome. And here's her Instagram, which is the cutest. I
Oh,
love it.
thanks.
Yeah, we just had a client recently write in just who was using the shop, and they were using a few things and they're like, why isn't my constipation better? And I'm like, did you give her the entire guide? Because there's
Yeah,
just like, let me tell you how many reasons you could have
I
constipation.
know, so many reasons for
So
constipation.
many. Yeah, the
Yeah.
gut is like really, I think the gut and hormones, maybe both, are just incredibly complex to
So
work with.
complex.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think either one of those, have a practitioner, because you are not going
Yeah.
to figure it out on your own.
Well, and I even say to my clients too, I'm like, I have coaches. My coaches have coaches. Like I don't just rely on myself to tell me the answer to this. I need an outside source. So, if you're not even a practitioner, of course you need an outside source to lead you, to like tell you the terms and how to navigate a doctor as like a health advocate. And like, I need you, and you may need someone above you, and so on and so forth. Like, we need to go to someone else to help us with the journey, because we can't really figure it out on our own sometimes. So
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think there's still kind of a cultural like distrust of sometimes of getting coaching, or getting an expert opinion, because there's so much free information. You think somehow
mhm.
you should piece it together. But yeah, I'm a coach and I have a gazillion. I'm like obsessed with
Yeah.
coaching. I have
Yeah.
three, just for divorcing, I have three
Yes.
coaches. That's just one little thing in my life. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big fan, and I put that in my mold book that I'm just finishing up too. And it's like,
Nice.
yeah, not everyone's going to have all the answers either. Like, I didn't have all the answers for you, but I
Right.
gave you something,
So much
everybody's going to
insight.
give you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
something. So you also, I think, in my opinion, you can't be too bitter about, well, why didn't that one person fix me all the way? It's like, it's your job to kind of go through and just make these relationships and get things out of them that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then you become the expert on your own body in the long run. But in the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, you're probably going to
Yeah.
need to talk to some different folks.
No, yeah, there's so many angles. Like, I do a little Ayurveda, I do a little Chinese medicine, I do a little functional medicine, and they've all the pieces that I've put together from that have created my own healing journey. And it's different for every one of my clients. And I always say, look, I am just one coach on your journey to health. And I
Yeah.
will help you 100%. I'm going to help you get there, but you're going to need other resources, whether it's mental health or spiritual health or whatever it is. You're going to need other resources. And that's why I like having other resources like you, because I'm like, oh, this is happening. Go see her.
Yeah, exactly. We piece it all together. Well, I'm so delighted we connected. I'm
Yeah.
going to be on
Thank
your
you.
gut brains summit this
Yes. I'm
winter
so
too. So
excited.
if
Thank you.
if you saw this interview, stay tuned for that, and we'll share that.
Yep.
Jaclyn will share that, and I'll be sharing that. So awesome. Well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your story and being so willing to, be open about it. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people will benefit from that.
Thank you so
So
much,
thanks.
Bridget. We'll
Bye,
see you soon.
everybody.
Bye. Thank